the snap of a finger, it can all be taken away from me. That is how I approach my everyday life in terms of how I go about the business of doing my job. And it's just a mentality that never escapes me. It's who I am.
Doesn't seem terribly mentally healthy, is it? Like, you know what I mean? To be so ambitious
Mhm.
that you can't be fearless because you know it can end in a sentence and end in a way that scares you the most.
Well, I disagree with that. I don't think that I'm fearful in terms of, going about the business of doing my job every day. I'm just mindful of the fact that because of things that could potentially be out of my control, it could all be snatched away from me. That's all I mean by that. But it doesn't mean I walk into work every day scared to go on the air, to say what I say and do what I do. I say this affectionately because you and I have a relationship that now spans 30 years, Dan. I think I'm more mentally stable than you. And I say that affectionately because you are a serious brother that is a conscientious observer that wears your emotions and your feelings on your sleeve. You're a deep thinker. You internalize a lot. And even though you vent, it's never finished with you. It's always more to touch on, to get into, always more people to check, always more issues to attack, et cetera, et cetera. And because of that and how you can be, you wear a lot of it on your sleeve where you dealing in corporate America is a lot more difficult and arduous for you than it is for me. Me, I understand me as a black man having the feelings that I have, being a conscientious observer that I can possibly be, having a mouth, being as fearless as I can be. I understand the troubles that are going to come with it. So, you know what? You're the kind of person that you might attack something and you don't give a damn about the third rail because to you, you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about what needs to be said. I'm thinking about what needs to be said, but I'm always mindful of where the third rails lie. I'm always mindful of how I can get fried. And because of that, I might maneuver a little bit differently than you do from time to time. But I'm more at peace with it than you are. And which is why I think that I'm a little bit more mentally stable than you are.
I loved your examination of that, but you have just had a less emotional, I would say more realistic and more filled with hardship path toward success than I did. So
Okay?
you learned to work within the machine much
Correct.
better than I did because I just had gates open for me the entire time. So the first time I run into a corporation telling me
Mhm.
how to behave, that's when I
Mhm.
lash out. And you're looking at me over here and being like, Dan, you cannot go against the company that pays your checks. You cannot do that publicly.
Well, I just say that to you, like, listen, you right now, you got Middle Media. Look at the great job that you guys have been doing. But in the process, man, at the end of the day, even though you're working with people, they answer to you. And if they're doing things that's going to compromise your bottom line, you're gonna have to deal with them because you have bottom line goals to address. The same is applicable to any company or corporation in this country or in this world. You got to understand where the lines are drawn. It's not to say that you can't be your true, authentic self. It's not to say that you can't be as real and authentic as you want to be and as you should be and as you're destined to be. But in the process of doing all of that, it can't be at the expense of everybody around you that's cut the check. Wait a minute now. They got to get something out of it too. And so for me, I've always prided myself on being as true to me as I can possibly be, but being mindful of the fact that I don't just represent myself. If I do something, it's not just about me. It's about First Take. It's not just about First Take. It's about the people I work with on First Take. It's not just about First Take and the people I work on First Take. It's about ESPN. And if it's about ESPN, it's also about Disney. I got to take all of those things into consideration. And that doesn't mean that definitively, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to say. This is the way that I'm going to act. All I've ever encouraged you to do is remember, you're not just having to think about you. It's more than just about you. And what I've encouraged you throughout the years, and you've been pretty damn hard headed and listening to it, even though you get it. Sometimes you listen, sometimes you don't. Is that sometimes you're so passionate about it that you know what? You'll win the battle and lose the war. And I'm saying, Dan, why? You're too damn important. Why would you do that? Guess what? This is not that important. This might be down the road, but this right here is not.
Yeah, but you
Still,
learned that,
bro,
Stephen A.
there's a bigger fight in fight.
But you learn. I think you learned that in 2009 in a way that I didn't. I believe that you learned how
That's
to be
fair.
unemotional about this because they got once you got hit the first time, it was so scarring that you're like, okay, that's not going to happen again.
But that wasn't the first time I got hit. Remember, I was in arbitration against the Philadelphia Inquirer. Remember, I had to go through stuff where I'm seeing people look in my face and tell lies and having to deal with it. And I got lawyers by my side and I got to listen to 12, 13 hours of testimonies of nothing but damn lies. And I got to take it. Why? Because it wasn't my turn to talk at that particular moment in time. There was times that I've had struggles in my career, whether it be at the Philadelphia Inquirers, at the New York Daily News, before that, hell, even with internships when I was in college. Trouble has always followed me at some point in time or another, because in my mind, I'm going to speak my truth to whatever power exists. And I'm going to say the things that need to be said that sometimes are going to ruffle feathers and make people uncomfortable. But that's the way it goes. That's the business we signed up for. And I think in your case, respectfully, because again, I'm your boy and I understand that a lot of times you have very excellent points. You're certainly not stupid. You're a highly intelligent dude. But at times, you let your emotions get the better of you to a point where it gets in the way of the bigger picture. And you are somebody that's religiously associated with the bigger picture. You matter. Your thoughts matter. Your opinions matter. And sometimes I'm looking at you and I'm saying, as I've told you to your face, is that really worth it? Is that the fight? Is that the sword to fall on right now? Because it's a bigger one down here that you're gonna be needed for. And that's where you and I from time to time to differ. Because for you, every fight is a big fight. Some fights to me ain't worth a damn. It ain't worth my time. It's not a big deal. I can brush it off my shoulders. And then there are some bigger fights where somebody needs to get their ass kicked. I'm gonna kick their ass.
All right,
There's a
so
difference.
walk me through the changes at ESPN, the changes in journalism that result in the combination of things that